Good morning, everybody. Bart again, and this is the second episode of First Million Together. So, in my first episode, I was thinking of, I was kind of confusing between the names of Growing Together and First Million Together, as I was putting my first video up on YouTube, and I did realize that there's somebody out there who already has a channel growing together, doing pretty similar things. So I just want to be different. So I am gonna keep my series name as First Million Together. Uh, you know what? I am still a little bit concerned about being more realistic, but I think $1 million nowadays, uh, it is pretty realistic. It is something that can be achieved. I feel. Uh, how much $1 million gives you, how much $1 million is worth in from now in 10 years. That's something I guess that I want to discuss today. So I want to discuss today the importance of saving or investing. uh, it is very important to understand the difference between the two. The savings versus investing, the savings and investing, they're not the same thing. Investing is basically you putting your money, uh, and hoping that it grows for you at a rate that's much faster than the savings rate. I'm not too sure if you guys are aware of the savings. So first of all, let's talk about the the let's talk the value of the money. As you guys know, the value of the money, it erodes over time. So if you have, back in the days, I remember my mom, she always used to have cash laying around the house. She would get, her she would get money from my dad on monthly basis, and then she would just hide her stack away. Uh, hoping that one day, and she has done that numerous times, hoping that there would be one day that she would be needing to use this money, and then she could surprise everybody that, hey, look, I have so much cash. It was great. And there were a lot of times where my mom was able to surprise everybody with all the money that she had saved away. But now that I understand money and I understand investing, I wish I could tell her that, mom, that money that you have in your hands, it's actually not growing. It's you're actually, if she had $10 in her hand at that time, 5 years, they're probably worth nine and a half or nine. And that brings us to the topic of inflation. So the inflation in is something that erodes the value of the money over time. So in the last few years, I don't know if you guys have seen the so average let's look at average inflation rate in US. So inflation rate, as you could see, in the US, from 1914 to 2022 is 3.5% every year. So you are actually losing money if you're keeping. So if you have $10, and in 10 years your money will be 30% on an average less than what it was 10 years ago. So if, with that example, you're actually, your $10 is only giving you value of $7 in 10 years time. So that there's a difference between inflation. uh, so so the idea is that we have to do something, we have to plan something, so we're always beating inflation, and that's not an easy thing to do. You know what, our parents, they, and even ourselves, I think, we're all have this fear of losing money, and so we always go to the safest option out there, which is opening up a savings account. And savings account, they're definitely good. They are backed by a lot of government insurances that you can't lose your money, but they give you very, very, very poor interest rates. If you look at the average savings interest rate in the US, it's only 0.21%. So it's not even beating inflation. Uh, so yeah, so if inflation is on an average 3.29%, but you're only getting 2.21% in the savings account, you aren't actually doing any good. So we have to come up with a strategy, or we have to come up uh, with a product which is beating inflation, and it's more proactive. So that's where investment comes in. So investment, there are numerous types of investments out there that I'm not even aware of myself, but there are some government issued investments that they do give you, a little bit more interest or than 0.21%. I think anywhere between 2.5, 1.5 to 2.5%. You can get government back interest, like, governments are issuing you bonds. Those are government bonds. They're the safest out there. You know what? Believe it or not, government will never go out of business. So they're safe. They give you a little bit more interest, and if you're beating inflation with those government issued investments, great, buy them. And if you're happy with that, great, because you know what, I'm same way, or I was the same way when I started investing. As you guys saw in my last video, that I was really conservative. I didn't want to lose a lot of money. I just only put $100 in my very first investment in Zenyatta, and I wasn't really comfortable of losing any more money. So if you're really comfortable and you just want to put money in the safe investments, that's fine, that's great. But if you want to be aggressive with your investments, then I think then we do have to look in the other markets. And the one market that I'm a little bit more comfortable, again, as I said in my last video, I haven't done a lot in the investments, and I haven't done really good on them, but I still feel comfortable, and I still feel that, over last 8 years I have grown as an investor, and I'm a little bit more comfortable with the stock market, and I'm a little bit more comfortable with the so on a stock market, on an average, if you look at it, S&P 500 from 2021 to 2021 has given return of 8.91%. So which is, and on based on inflation, that's 6.40%. So if you talk about this, so we are definitely beating our average 3.29% of inflation, and we are like making a little bit more money if we were invested in the stock market. So let's go to this savings calculator and see, our goal, as I said, our goal is first million together. So we want to get to the first $1 million. So now we have the interest rate, or we have the return that stock market is giving us based on inflation. We'll use this rate right here, which is adjusted for inflation, and see how much time do we need, how much money do we need initially into our portfolios, and growing and putting more money on monthly basis or weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, whatever you guys want, and come up with that $1 million. So let's start with $10,000. So if we start with $10,000 and we continue to put let's say $50 bi-weekly, $50 weekly, at the beginning of the period, so at the beginning of every month, every beginning of every week, for 20 years, with interest rate of 6.4%, which we saw right here, that's the average return in the stock market over last 20 years. And let's see, we will only have $141,000 in the bank account at that in 20 years. So if we are, and what if we have 30 years? $304,000. So that is the as you could see, that's the power of compounding. that more money that you have now, it grows much faster in the future years. So let's start with $25,000. Let's see what $407,000. What if we increase this from 50 to 100? We're getting close, but you know what? Is it realistic for us to save $100 every week? Probably not, especially if we are still in school and you know, trying to go through school. We're also going through school. Let's see if we can, what if we start investing earlier in our life? Oh, now we're getting close. So how about we 37 years? Look at that. So if we have $25,000 at the beginning of our investing, and then we put $100 into our portfolio every week for 37 years at the interest of 6.4%, we will have $1 million in our bank account or in our investment portfolio. So this is what I want to talk about today, that what's the importance of investing, and beating inflation has to be the goal, because if we have money saved in savings account and we're only making 0.21% and inflation is 3.29%, we're not making any money. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for listening. If you like my episode today, please subscribe, please like my video. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.